Here's how you can show your journeys on maps in your digital storytelling or visual journalism. Here is a story that we're going to enhance by adding a map journey. And it has a top section containing a few images. Then there are these 4 sections with white space on the right side, and that is where we're going to place our map journey. To add our map, we have to add a new background element. So we have to show timelines and click Add Background Element. And here we click on the map journey element. In the map journey settings, you can choose a style preset, but for now we'll leave it as the default. When we click outside, we can now see that we have a timeline of our map journey. We'll make it bigger so we know that it fills the 4 sections that we want it to fill. When we now scroll down, you can see that the map fades in the background and there is a subtle animation happening as we scroll. Now, we don't want a map to be visible on the top section of our story, so we're going to drag the colorful part and drag the map journey timeline to start at the Leon section. Click on full preview to see how it's going to look. Now when we scroll down to Leon, we can see the map, we can see the animation moving, and finally, as we move past, the map fades out. The map journey that we want to show in this story is from Lyon to Paris. The way we edit the start and end position of the map is by expanding timelines, and here we can see a couple of keyframes for the map position. When you click on a map position keyframe, you can see that we have an editor that we can scroll to zoom into until we find the position that we want on the map. After that, you can click Save Position, which is now reflected in our map journey. The map is now animating from the first keyframe to the second keyframe set here. By clicking that, we can edit the end position of our map journey, which in our case is going to be the National Library of France in Paris, which is right about here. We'll zoom a little bit out and then click Save Position to set the destination of our map journey. And now the map position is animating from Lyon to Paris. Right now there's a lot of movement on the screen which can be disturbing. One way to solve that is to zoom out before we start panning the map. We can do that by duplicating this keyframe here by right-clicking on it. That opens a menu where you have the option to duplicate. So now we have an exact copy of the first keyframe, and because the values are exactly the same, you won't see animation happening as you scroll. What we're trying to do is to create a zoom out effect, and we can use the same technique to achieve that as well. We'll duplicate the second keyframe that we have and create another map position of Lyon, and this time we'll click into the keyframe, and then we can zoom out and find the zoom level that we want to have. Click Save Position, and now when we scroll down, you can see that the map is zooming out. To increase the duration of the zoom, we'll move the zoomed keyframe further down. So that's the first part of a zooming animation. If we now scroll down, we can still see that it's zooming in and moving quite rapidly. To fix that, we need to add a zoomed out keyframe over Paris as well. We do that by duplicating the zoomed out keyframe over Lyon and drag it down closer to the Paris keyframe. We'll click to edit, and now, with the same zoom level set for Lyon, we're going to try to find Paris. Once we have done that, we can click Save Position, and now, because we're zoomed out, there isn't as much movement as before. When we now reach Paris, we'll zoom into the final state of the animation. To be able to see the final position, all we have to do is move the opacity keyframes down. Let's now have a full preview of how our map journey is looking. So from the top of the story, here's the section before the map. When we reach the map, we see the starting point at Lyon. Then we have the zoom out, pan towards Paris without too much movement, and then finally we zoom into the National Library. One thing that could be improved now is the readability of the text. We could add a background to the rich text module, But instead, we're going to take advantage of the space that we have on the right-hand side and have the map only fill that area. The way we do that is by showing timelines and click on the colorful part of the timeline to open the map journey settings. Here we'll use the frame settings to set the width to be 50% and the alignment to be right. Now we have a map that fills half of the screen and complements the text content. To further help the map communicate, we can add markers and lines to highlight what is happening in our journey. We can add that by adding special map features called GeoJSON layers on top of our map. To add a GeoJSON layer, you can again show timelines, click on the colorful part to open settings, and then scroll down to add GeoJSON layers. Click on the white box besides Add New, and because GeoJSON is just a file, we need to have that file ready on our system. To create GeoJSON files, there's a really nice service called geojson.io made by Mapbox. You can click on the link to open it, and here you can see a toolbar on the right-hand side where you can add markers, lines, polygons, squares, and circles, which you can add to your map. In our case, we're going to add a marker to the Museum of Fine Arts in Lyon. Select the marker in the toolbar and click where you want it to be. When you then click on the marker, you can add simple style properties by clicking here, and when you do that, you can select the color that you want to have. You hit save to confirm, and then we have our first marker placed on a map. We're now going to zoom out and add another marker for the end position of our journey. We'll locate the National Library of France, select the marker in the toolbar to the right, and click to place the marker where we want to have it. We'll add the simple style properties to give it a color, and now we can hover over save in the top left corner and click on GeoJSON. For our journey, we're also going to add a line that shows roughly where we're driving from Lyon to Paris. After you have created a line, you can click on it, add simple style properties, and choose the stroke color. In our map journey, we want to toggle the visibility of the markers and the lines separately. So I'm going to remove both the markers and save this as a separate GeoJSON file. Now that we have our two GeoJSON files, we're going to upload the first file, the markers.geojson. Click the button to upload, click outside till you get back to the map, and then you can see that we have our blue marker for Lyon, and then the purple marker at the end of the story for Paris. What we'll do now is to add our second GeoJSON file by going into the map settings, adding a new GeoJSON layer, and upload our line.geojson file. Then when we go back, you can see that we have a line as well. We can now aid the storytelling by choosing when the line and the markers should be visible. The way we do that is by going into timelines, and now when we click on a map position keyframe, you can see that we have toggles for the different GeoJSON layers that we have added. When we toggle them, you can see that the visibility changes. Click Save Position to save the changes, and now both the line and the marker should be removed for the first keyframe. In the second keyframe, we're going to hide the line and only have the marker show. When a map is zoomed out though, we want to make sure that the line is visible, so we'll click the zoomed out keyframe, then toggle off the markers and save with the line on. Now we can scroll up a bit and see how our map journey looks this far. It starts with a blank map, the marker fades in, and then as we zoom out, we can see that the marker fades out and the line comes in. As we move towards Paris, it would be nice if the marker at the destination wasn't visible. We can do that by going into the keyframe zoomed out over Paris and toggle the marker visibility. And for the final map position, we'll remove the line and leave the marker visible. We'll click Save Position, and then we'll take a look at our full map journey. So the map fades in, we start at Lyon and we see just the marker, but as we zoom out, we can see that the line becomes visible. The map moves towards Paris at a slow pace, and then, as we start to zoom in, the marker fades in and the line fades out. And finally, the map fades out, and that is how you create map journeys for your digital storytelling. If you want to learn more, go to instorier.com/learn or to our YouTube channel.